it's not talks.
That's the more reason. That's the more reason you should push and get it over with. Because if you're saying those fingered were security agents, and you're not getting any feedback after the complaint, don't you think you should also make a formal, petition to the IG if you're not getting to hear anything from the Abia State Police Command?
We've made some petitions too. We've written petitions directly to the IG and the hierarchy of the army. We're still waiting to get a response from that.
Did you just say the army?
Army, everybody.
Why the army here?
Yeah, because soldiers also brutalize people in my constituency. And people have eyewitness accounts.
Where was this?
This is the
polling units, or
both at the polling, mostly at the polling units, and also making it difficult for our people to get into the local government.
Which are the local governments again?
Umunochi local government. You see, so we are worried that some bad acts in the security forces are going to paint our security forces bad. We know overwhelmingly our security forces, we're proud of them, but a few bad acts in them can taint their image. And that's why we're making this public, so that they can reel back some of those bad acts before it goes into an ugly situation.
So you say you've spoken to the Commissioner of Police?
The hierarchy of the party has spoken to the Commissioner of Police about some of these problems.
What has been his response?
For now, I can't say what his response has been, because I wasn't in that meeting.
Do you think that the police is complicit in this?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't want to make such an assumption, because we feel that some of the things that we see are pockets of individualistic way of doing things by some of the security agents. There are accounts where police did exceptionally well here, but in general, in some places they felt that a few people also participated in this very heinous crime.
Have you had police support or protection whenever you've held your rallies?
Oh yes, overwhelmingly. During the time we're having our rallies, the police, the army, they protected us. They weren't part of anything that would say they are unsavory. And that's why we were surprised a few people also in uniform will participate in what we saw in Abia. We were very, very pleased with the way the police has supported us. The army has provided cover during the electioneering campaigns, because those were the times we felt that people might attack. Even in one local government, in Ikwa local government, which is in Abia Central, there was a time the political talks attacked our gubernatorial candidate campaign train. It was the police that repulsed the attack, including the SS officers. They were very great. So we're very, very grateful for that.
Well, is your party being targeted here? Because some of these accounts you've given, just particularly as it concerns your party. Was it just a target of your party, or it just happens and your party gets caught up in it?
Well, I would say the party to beat in Abia now is APGA. The party to beat now is APGA. Even though the candidates of my federal constituency, also from PPA, also has stories to tell about how his agents were also manhandled in the polling units. So that's majorly the party to beat is APGA. So we're the main target.
So is this affecting preparations for the forthcoming governorship election?
Yes, what we were afraid of is that might be voter apathy. People might say, because when we were doing our electioneering campaign, 3 weeks to the elections, one of the key things that people were saying is that you don't have to talk to us about whether you're going to make a change or not. Our principal, Dr. T, is a well-known individual, has done so much and so well in the banking industry, and has what it takes to be able to take Abia to the next level. Some of us also have done so well in our own accounts. I was from international development space over a 20-year period. So people saw the candidatures of all the candidates of APGA are people who have pedigree, who have accomplished background, who will be able to, as the world more sophisticated in doing things, to getting leadership properly done. So they were very sure that APGA is going to deliver. So what they were now saying, we will vote for you, but tell us how you're going to protect our votes. So in preparing for the next election, we are assuring them that what happened last time will not happen. Like you said, we're also talking to security forces, that they have to make sure that they ring some of their bad acts out of the political arena. We're also assuring them their votes will count this time around. And we're also saying if they stay back, then that change they want won't happen. So they must come out the way they massively came out to vote for APGA, to repeat the same process on the 28th. The mandates that seem to have been taken, we're going to get them back from the courts. There's just clear evidence.
That's for this just concluded
National Assembly elections. Some of them, I'll give you a good example. In Abia North Senatorial Zone, the returning officer complained that he wasn't the one that signed or announced the results of the Abia North. So, as we speak, he's in hiding because he's afraid of his life. Some other person was because he saw the results and saw all the manipulations and said he wasn't going to sign. That his conscience will not let him sign that kind of result.
But you also had the INEC voter education officer releasing those figures as well.
Yeah, that's why we were also concerned that the returning officer who, by the Electoral Act, has the responsibility to sign and announce results, didn't announce the results. Some other person did.
So has he gone to Abuja to say, no, I didn't announce his results?
Well, he's in hiding. He says his life is in danger.
Do you know where he's hiding?
I don't know. Even if I do know, I wouldn't make it public. Because
politics,
he's the one that...
politics is one mystery sometimes in the country. Someone says, well, he can't put a signature to a result because... What did you say? Why?
He said that...
his conscience?
His conscience, because he see that this cannot be the correct result because of the alterations on the result sheets. There was evidence of tampering with the results. So he said he wasn't going to sign that.
Then I think the best place should have been to report to INEC and not be in hiding.
Well, he did. That he reported to INEC doesn't mean his life will not also be...
Very quickly, elections hold this Saturday, the governorship elections and interstate assemblies. And if you say you have made complaints to the police authorities, especially concerning threats and harassment of your members and supporters, how do you hope to go on with the last-minute campaign if you still haven't heard any story or any feedback from the police?
Well, regardless of what happened, we're not afraid. We're doing our campaigns.
It's not about being afraid. You're the one speaking. If I'm your member and I'm the one who's a chicken in your group, and I still see that you haven't actually gotten any reasonable feedback from the police, I wouldn't be out for you. So how can you assure the people that all is well if you say by now you have no feedback from the police or security agents?
Yes, it's work in progress between now and end of Thursday, which will be the end of electioneering. We intend to make sure that the security forces make it public that the people will be protected. At least that's a demand we're going to make. The reason is that, like I said, in the last election, people were restrained, the young people were restrained not to go violent because it wasn't going to pay anybody. For me, violence is the last resort. It's not even on the table. The reason is that I'm part of the people who, in the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Bill in the National Assembly right now, waiting to be passed. I was part of the people who inserted that election violence should be something that we have to legislate on in terms of making sure.
Do you have any idea of those who unleash mayhem or attack on your people?
You mean in terms of personnel?
No, do you have an idea of those who carry out these, harassment and intimidation against your party members?
Oh yes, all the witnesses are documented.
And you put that in your petition to the police?
Yes.
And you don't have an idea if the police have invited any of these persons or group?
No, we haven't. They didn't petition directly to the police authorities. Like I said, they made incident reports at the police stations. But we, as parties and candidates, we have already raised a petition to the authorities. We wanted to make sure that we documented properly before we send the petition, so it will not be just a frivolous petition. So that's what we're doing right now.
What are your chances for this election?
Great. Great.
In spite of all?
In spite of all. Abians are still going to vote for APGA because they are voting. APGA is not a party as such, it's a movement. A movement to move us to prosperity. Abia has great people, but this time around, we want to make sure those great people come into leadership to liberate the state.
Ogochukwu Ezenwa, very quickly, it's a tweet here. It says, APGA don't have a base in Abia State.
I don't know what he means by that. Everywhere is so kokoroko. Kokoroko means a cock, you know. Anybody that says Abia doesn't have a base in Abia State is deceiving himself.
How did you fare in this last election?
In my own case, I was winning conclusively and convincingly until the security forces and thugs attacked the polling units and carted away ballot boxes. And they went, in some places, coercing voters to vote for a particular party. In some areas, they abducted young men who defended their booths and said, no, we won't allow you to mess up our vote. We'll allow people to vote.
Does your party regret supporting the PDP presidential candidate? Because some people believe that maybe that's where the confusion came in. This last elections, you were supporting the PDP presidential candidate. There ought to have been some fraternity amongst the two parties, at least, if not for anything, on that count.
I wouldn't say we regret that. There's no regret on that. I completely agree with you. The fact that our party supported the presidents in the presidential election also affected some of the votes that will come to APGA, even though it didn't really, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter, because some of especially the uneducated voters, who feel that when they vote the umbrella, they are also voting for the president in terms of the House of Rep and the Senate. But even though that happened, the votes for APGA was still overwhelmingly enough to make all the House of Rep and Senate candidates win in Abia.
Have you lost anybody in this violence that's been going on in Abia State?
Yes, there was an account of somebody dying in Bende, local government. Somebody was killed. We're still trying to make sure we get the details of how that happened.
In total, how many people would you say have been affected by the violence in Abia State?
I will not be able to give a complete tally now, but I can tell you, in my federal constituency, we documented at least 34 people. They were brutalized. 28 of them were hospitalized for 2 days.
34 people?
34 people.
In just your federal
In just my federal constituency. In fact, in just the Umunochi local government, 34 people were brutalized. 28 of them hospitalized for 2 days. Like I said, one of them, as of 2 days ago, was still having severe pains. I had to take him to Federal Medical Center, Omaha, for treatment. You know, the reason why I'm sure Abia is not boiling right now is because of the nature of Abians. Remember I said Onyagala when they were brothers keepers. We wouldn't want to descend to the level of people who want to bring violence to our people. But like we said, in the next election, everybody is ready. Nobody will tolerate that sort of nonsense that happened.
And that's just a few days away.
Yeah. So what are the